if anyone ever asks you why, quote, this Labour Party is different from the Tories and why these people aren't just, quote, um, red Tories, then quite simply point to the fact that at this moment in time, there is going through Parliament Labour's brand new workers' rights bill, which will expand workers' rights more in a generation since the last Labour government. Like, I just want to point that out to you. And yes, bear in mind, we've seen everything else that, this government goes and does. We don't necessarily agree with everything. I don't necessarily agree with everything that Starmer and a lot of these other sort of people on the Labour front bench has done, like, West Streeting with the trans stuff. I don't agree with that. I think that's a completely foolish move based on a very, knee-jerk reaction more than anything. Um, but, you just look at, like, something like this, and it's just like every single moment where people up to that election are going, "Oh, these people, they're just red Tories. The red Tories. What are the difference they're going to make? What are they going to do when they get in?" Well, they've just putting forward a bill that it's the biggest expansion of workers' rights in a generation that gets rid pretty much of all 0 hour contracts, adds protections for workers from day one. Honestly, yeah, and I've always said it. I've always said it. I always believe you should give credit where credit is due. If let's say for the past couple of years, let's say Boris Johnson had actually fulfilled the promise of leveling up. Let's say he'd actually followed through on it. The white paper had come out. The first 2 chapters, as I said, pretty impressive because it pretty much admits where all the falls for this, how we need to level up the North, the money that is needed to do. And then, of course, we got to chapter 3, which is the Treasury part. And we could see, of course, Rishi Sunak not giving the money necessary to do that. Now, if that had been the opposite way around, let's say Sunak had gone, okay, there's the money. Well, out of nowhere, you actually have a good piece of legislation going through that would have a positive effect on many of these, or would have had a positive effect on many of these left behind areas had it gone through. And I would have stood there and I would have gone, you know what? Don't like the Conservatives, don't like Boris Johnson, but I'll tell you what, on leveling up, he kept his promise, and that is going to be good for the region. Don't like the Conservatives at all, but hey, if they had actually done something good like that, again, which they didn't, then yeah, I would have given them credit. But now you've got many people on the left who are like, Labour have done something good, and either A, they can't acknowledge that they've done something good, or they just ignore it entirely in favor of focusing on something else. You know? And then to really drive home the point, just how different, these two parties are, you have right now in Parliament trying to go through this. The Conservatives are trying to add amendments to these bills. Again, they're not going to pass because they don't have a majority to pass these amendments. They are trying to pass amendments now, which are going to cap workers' rights. So you're going to have the biggest bill in a generation to push and advance workers' rights. But here you have Conservative MPs pushing forward to try and hamper workers' rights. by getting rid of workers' rights to paid holiday, annual leave. Not only that, but they also want to scrap, as of course they did try when they were in power, the Working Time Directive. So we'll keep a close eye on these, but I don't think these amendments are going to pass. I think it's very obvious these amendments are not going to pass because A, they don't have a majority. Labour aren't going to vote for these, especially when, as we said, why would you bring up the the single most biggest improvement to workers' rights in generation and then basically saw your own foot off to try and win, a race when you're the only one now, hobbling along because you've sawn your leg off. Don't think the government's going to sort of follow through and allow these amendments to go through. It's not likely to happen. Let's face it. But like I say, anyone asks you difference, bring up the fact this bill is going through Parliament, bring up the fact Conservative MPs are now actively trying to, get rid of rights to paid holiday leave and annual leave. Difference there is, difference thou art have seen to this. And thus, I leave you now, my fellow audience, to comment below. Comment and let me know what you think to all this, because it's not just this. There's other things as well that we talked about, other bills that have come through, and other bills in the future that they are going to bring in. Like I say, Keir Starmer did hit the ground running. He really hit the ground running, and he's got his bills in that he said he was going to get to, and he's getting them through. Because he's got a majority that big, these bills are going to get through. Because of that, we're going to have the single biggest expansion of workers' rights in a while. I think overall, that is a very, very good thing. And like I say, if let's say, as we said, let's go back to the leveling up example. If that had generally been done and followed through, and not just the leveling up one, if Cameron and Osborne had followed through on the Northern Powerhouse, I would have said, yeah, don't like Cameron and Osborne, don't like all that austerity stuff. But I'll tell you what, Northern Powerhouse did actually work. Had a lot of good stuff, a lot of good stuff for sort of investment as well. Of course, they've never followed through on it. It was just all talk, which is why when we heard the promises of leveling up again, oh look, the exact same ideas that were pronounced by Cameron Osborne, and yet what happened again? They didn't follow through on it. So, yeah. Just because you don't like a particular politician or someone from a particular party, etc., doesn't mean you should not go, that is good. Like, yes, gold star you. Congratulations. You've done something good. Don't like anything else you've done, but in this, I'll give you a gold star. Maybe it is the Christmas season upon us all, or at least upon me. But that's just how I feel when it comes to this. If someone does something good, it doesn't matter. Yeah, congratulations, you've done something good. If only we're like that the rest of the time, But of course, as always, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think down below. And of course, there's the Patreon page. There's the Buy Me Coffee link where you can buy me coffee, the YouTube thank you button. And of course, as always, there is the YouTube thank you button and the Pony Club down below as well. So as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.